You are watching the Corona Post Show. What a day. A nice Thursday afternoon. Look at all the great fans that came down here. I met some that drove over 12 hours to get here to watch all their heroes compete. It was their first time watching this event. The Corona Open J-Bay bringing a lot of newcomers, but a lot of experienced fans as well to this amazing right-hand point break. And we're able to accomplish one round of competition for the men. Win picked up. Women will be on standby for the next couple of days to see if they will get started soon. Joe Turpel, Strider Wazalewski, and Richie Lovett. Richie's on his return trip to Jeffreys Bay after 18 years.
I know.
We saw some fireworks today. What'd you love?
I loved it all, to be honest. I think we saw a healthy mix of power and progression. You know, every heat, almost every heat, had enough waves for all our competitors, and they really capitalized on what was coming through. Perfect way to start the event.
Strider, you got to mix it up a bit. You're in the Red Bull Athlete Zone. You're hanging on the beach, on the rocks. It's got to be great to be back at Jeffreys Bay. How can you explain the vibe of this contest? Because it's really different from any other venue on tour.
It's kind of like showing up and you are actually on the court. It's like sitting on the court at a Laker game. That's what it's like. You're just in the mix. Everybody's right there. You can grab people were running by you. They feel like you could grab the ball right off the court, and it feels alive and like you're in the game, and that's the best part about this venue.
Let's get into the business end. We were really trying to watch Filipe Toledo closely to see how he was going to perform. Back injury at El Salvador, knee that he was nursing at Saquarema. He looked solid in the heat number 4 matchup with Kanoa Garashi and also wild card Aiden Mason-Camp.
Yeah, this was an interesting heat, and I kind of thought Kanoa was going to run away with it, and then it was a sleepy start for Filipe Toledo. But man, the champ, he just started warming up and there was no stopping him, man. He's just so solid, no sign of that injury holding him back. He looked completely on point. So it was a really good heat, and Aiden Mason-Camp too, getting his initiation to J-Bay at CT level, and that was good to see.
Yeah, the most impressive thing to me is Toledo's base is an 8-point ride.
Yeah.
And that's just, I mean, 8s or lates, you know, you better catch up because this guy is on fire, and he did not do anything extraordinary for him, but his base is 8 points, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, it's solid.
It's really solid. It was great to see Kanoa in this kind of form. Remember, he's made the final series here in the past. He doesn't have the same kind of momentum like he did last year when he finished number 5 in the world, but J-Bay is a great venue for him. 7.33, 7.0, but Toledo reminding us that he knows what a good wave looks like. It only takes 2. 8.5, like Strider mentioned, backed it up with a 6.77. And the key thing for Toledo, he told us, no pain. He's feeling solid. Rich?
Well, that's dangerous for every single other competitor in the draw. And you can see here, I mean, he's still in 4th, maybe 5th gear sometimes. He hasn't fully clicked in yet, but just holding back, he's going to pace himself through this event. I don't know where he's going to tattoo on his body if he wins this one. There's not much
There's no space left, huh? But he is, you know, I like what you said, Rich. It's all about pace and momentum and where he's positioning himself. And he's just climbing the ladder, right? And so he's just getting going. But, yeah, still, big heat total there.
An important event for Toledo if he wants to be that number 1 seed. As we know, Tahiti hasn't been his favorite event of his career. So if he can capitalize on J-Bay, get close to clinching yellow, he could be in a great position to go back-to-back in his world titles this September. We finished the last heat of the day. The Italian Leo Fioravanti got the win. He's hanging out with AJ.
Leo, some conditions out there, some challenging conditions. How did that change your strategy as you saw what the waves were doing?
Yeah, I was actually warming up in the last 10 minutes before I pedaled out, or 15, so I wasn't watching too much. And as soon as I got right here, I saw Kelly, and he said, look, the onshore's coming. And then I looked up, and I'm like, oh, yeah, it's coming. So the conditions are going to change. And I was ready for it. I knew it would get very challenging, so I tried to start with a solid wave, even though I think I could have surfed it a little better. But I think a 5 ended up being a good score for those conditions. And then just I thought about getting grindy, going back to the Challenger Series, and really competing in some tough conditions and, trying to make the heat.
It's not something that is, the Challenger Series is something that you've talked a lot about how important it was for you to grind through that, and it's a big part of what defines you as a surfer. How did that experience play out to your advantage?
For sure, spending a lot of heats in the Challenger Series, QS, whatever, and, my whole career has been really helpful for when the conditions get like this. And it is the dream tour, but a lot of times this happens where the waves are firing, you're all excited, and then right before you heat, the wind turns, and you still got to be ready to compete. So I just, for this event, I've been trying to keep my expectations low as far as conditions, because it is Jeffreys Bay, it is one of the best waves in the world, but a lot of times, maybe there's one wave in your heat, or the tide is too high, the wind changes, so just got to be ready for anything, and I think I was... when that happened, I was, in a way, expecting it.
That preparation paid off for you today. Do you want to say anything to friends and family back home?
Ciao a tutti a casa, l'orario è buono, ci siamo un'altra hit, però ancora manca molto. Forza Italia.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Love it. Leo Fioravanti, a very mature approach to changing conditions and kind of banked on all the experience in the Challenger Series, which he dominated last year, to find the positivities in this lineup. And what a heat. Jordy Smith and Jack Robinson sitting next to him, Richie.
Yeah, a couple of things there. First up, there was a crazy amount of South Africans spurring on Jordy Smith. The second thing for me, when I watched Jack Robinson go into his warm-up, and it was perfectly smooth and glassy. When he came out and ran down for his heat, it was onshore, and he wasn't watching that. Leo was. So adaptation for Leo has been the key, and Pete Mel called it one of his favorites.
Right there, yeah. He picked him out before the event started. He's been Mr. Consistency. Remember, he was on the wrong side of a perfect heat against Jordy in the past at this venue. So a good opportunity to get a win, move into the round of 16, still with hopes to make the WSL Final 5, and got to change gears a bit. Jordy got in the mix, threw down a couple of punts, but ended up being left behind.
Yeah, you know what? There's beauty in the grind, and I feel like Leo knows that and feels that. I don't think Jordy's been there in a long time, so, hats off to Leo Fioravanti finding that and really digging deep.
We talked about it this morning. I think we have to go back to it again. Concerns about Jack Robinson falling from #1 in the world this year. Now in another position where he's back in the elimination round. He really hasn't had a heat win if you really go back to Bells Beach.
Yeah, it's been a pretty substantial slide from the top there. And, we keep getting told his body's in perfect condition, so that only leaves the head noise that's going on. And, I just think back to what we were saying about Filipe. It just seems to be happening so easy when the champions get on a roll. They just make heats without, really putting up too much effort. They just make it happen. And Jack seems to be like trying to force it and struggle to get it done. And he's got to switch that around quick.
His team says the backpack is off. They say that he's gotten rid of all of the mental anguish and everything that he was carrying. But to me, he hasn't clicked into, that visually to seeing that in the water. So hopefully we can see that in the next heat.
Jack will get another shot. He'll be reseeded in the elimination round. We'll see when we get this contest started again as we bring up the Surfline forecast. Today's Thursday here in South Africa. So let's check out the next few days on the maps here. Richie, what are we looking at?
Well, the next couple of days, we're going to come down and check it in the morning for sure, because it's the ocean and then weird things happen. But on the charts, the next 2 days are looking 50-50. We might be golfing a little, maybe a bit of bungee jumping, going safari.
We're going to run some heats. We're going to get some of that women's 4 heats are going to be running tomorrow morning, hopefully.
Yeah,
okay,
Friday, Saturday.
There.
Friday, Saturday, yeah, so. Sunday, but more so into Monday. I think we're going to see the swell start to fill in. From what I've seen, it's kind of upwards of 8, 10 feet, even 12 feet at some times with a decent period. Coming out of a fairly good direction too, back into that sort of 210 to kind of 225 zone, the direction. So, there's no doubt waves are coming. The wind, again, has been variable since we got here, and it's been a little bit unpredictable. There's going to be contestable waves, no doubt about it, and that's exciting.
I like it. Few days, maybe off potentially. Strider wants to run, so stay close. Tomorrow morning, we'll check it just in case. That brings us to the daily top 5 of the Corona Post Show. Exciting part of the day. If you're winning the highlight reel on opening day of competition, welcome to the daily top 5. Coming in number 5 on the list, Gabriel Medina taking control, 7.5 and a 6.5 was.
Yeah, you know what? The backhand whips, just Christmas trees off of every turn, looking solid, in control, and just, fundamental surfing, nothing too out of this world, but that's what the pace is all about. Richie touched on that with Toledo. There's that pace that you get into, and you want to rhythm out, and you want to kind of create your flow into the event and peak right at the right time, which is in the final, hopefully.
Yeah, looked real cruisy and comfortable, took advantage of big sections and crushed them, peaking at that 7.5. And a formal event champ. He's looking dangerous. Number 4, Rio Waida, looked impressive this morning.
Yeah, this was early on in the day, and Rio, first wave, just attack mode. Love to see the calves, these quick snaps, and I can't get past it. I'm just seeing shades of Danny Wills in his surfing.
Oh, I love it.
And his style and the speed, don't you think?
Yeah, 100%. That was that bottom turn combo, huh? With the arms up. Definitely looking like Willsy. But another note here, Rio was a statue, sat and waited. I think like 20 to 30 minutes for his second wave, this wave, which is, you know, it's the nerve that you have to have in a championship heat against, you know, killers. It's insane, and he did well to do it.
That's right. It was against Ethan Ewing, sending number 3 in the world into the elimination round. Colapinto gets number 3. Bit of an expression session today, Rich.
Yeah, well, again, another comfortable victory for Griff. Just never really looked too pressed for the lead in this heat. Took to the air and just built confidence the whole way through. You know, this is the sort of surfing that Griffin's been producing and delivering for us all year round, and another great way to kick off the event for him.
8.5 from Griff, 7.67 as his backup. His family's here. He's in a great rhythm with the ocean, and he's always writing down his goals and his journal entries. Remember, the GOAT was in this heat, who was caught behind because Griffin just kept finding waves with or without priority.
Yeah, you know what? It was funny. The GOAT actually commented. He said, man, I was just having to wait out the back, and I knew I needed a big score because of Griff.
Number 2 on the daily top 5, John Florence versus Italo in a bit of an air showdown. This was the 8.27, and then we also saw the 8.17 back-to-back. These guys were going crazy.
Yeah, they went, they went blow for blow, really, and this was that wave that John just attacked right from the start. Big critical maneuver. Right from the outset, high risk, and the judges rewarding it. We saw the air rotation straight into the transition and a series of snaps down the line. Just looked fantastic.
And then we got to number 1. Yago Dora did a lot of airs today. This, the most impressive, right when he needed it. A 9.27 and a 7.0. Richie, do you remember how many airs he did in this heat?
There was at least 3, maybe 4, but that big one was super impressive. You know, if you go back and watch the replay, you'll see the front foot actually comes off. He plants it back on there, and it was real technical, but he's just riding on confidence, you can see here, and just for me, instantly is in the conversation now.
It's so cool, huh?
He's in the conversation.
Yago is right there looking at a world title. He's looking right down the barrel at it, and to come out and have 0 looks like pressure to me. I mean, it just looked like he was stomping it, like you said, super confident. And the technical side of his surfing, though, it's almost unmatched. I mean, the way and how smooth he puts it together, I don't know, there's just something about the way that he comes out of maneuvers. It just looks so clean and seamless.
It's true. When he lands airs, he can transition right into a turn. He's not having to move his feet. They're almost in the perfect spot every time, like his 10 from Rio into what he just did today in a 9.27. That's a serious roll. He's definitely not relaxing after the first win of his career. He's got bigger goals for September.
Well, the greats back it up, don't they? They just don't go with one win. They start just rattling them off. So you get the feeling he's got. This is the start of it.
There we go. We've got the elimination round reseeded for the men and still waiting for the opening round to start for the women. Tomorrow morning, join us at 7:45 local time for the call and enjoy the highlights from opening day. Take care. We'll see you then. What a beautiful sunrise, and welcome to South Africa.
Jeffreys Bay, it's one of those canvases that is inspiring.
A Zhao Chanka.
Gosh, so spring-loaded off the bottom. Indonesia's Rio Waida.
Advantage to Rio.
Colapinto.
Boosts. Come on, that was technically perfect.
Here goes the yellow jersey worn by Filipe Toledo. Big stinging snap, just unleashing. 8.5 from the panel, excellent.
Big full rotation.
You can see the entire bottom of his board.
Got Yago looking for his lead back. Full rotation. What? Yago Dora does it again. He's going for the big backside. Whoa. In the flats, Italo. So John now feeling the pressure, needs a 7.35. Big tail high reverse. Florence gets it. This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.